6. I'm not Cloud Sparky 3. Hope you're having a phenomenal day today, whatever day you're watching or listening to this episode. If this is the first episode of Gamesthetic you've listened to the week, we did have another episode on Tuesday. 175 is up for you to listen to and enjoy, where we gave our thoughts on the Xbox Showcase and the Midsummer Game Fest. So make sure you go check that out as well. No Zach today, but we do have John in here. John, how you doing?
I don't know, man. We're here. We'll find our way through this.
So John's got a little bit of a headache.
Yeah.
So we'll say low energy.
Yeah, I'm here. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's. I don't think it's gonna be a super long show. You know, I mean, it is like the second show of the week. It's kind of a follow up.
It's also like, I mean, in all honesty, it's not the most interesting of topic points for me.
It's not. No.
But you know, it's still fun to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. And that's this week in a nutshell, or that's today in a nutshell. So what he's referring to, of course, is Ubisoft Forward. Something. It's a thing. It happened. It had some stuff. A couple interesting things, in my opinion, though. And then the Dragon Age gameplay. We'll talk about that and the controversy around it. And then a couple other random things here or there. Like, for example, we had 7 years passed for Metroid Prime 4 from its announcement to no release. So I thought it was kind of interesting. And I dug up a history of the longest development times, and I wanted to shout those out for you because there was one that I thought was very fascinating. But it's not the Guinness World Record holder. That was Duke Nukem Forever. But there's still one game that has a tremendous longer development time, but it doesn't have the record because I guess it wasn't in development for the entire time. So I don't know. We'll touch on that in a bit. So that's kind of interesting. I also thought that I would shout out later on in the show. I think it's like the top 20 rated games on Metacritic for this year.
That just popped up when I was scrolling.
Yeah.
When I opened up
interesting list.
When I opened up the Discord, it started at the bottom, and I was like, "Fuck, do you add this in here?"
I thought, well, I put it in there because wrong one. I put it in there because Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance came out this week, yesterday actually. Great reviews. And but that's basically a remaster. It's a Persona 5 Royal, Persona 4 Gold.
Yeah.
And
I remember asking the question,
Yeah.
how many times has this come out?
Yeah, so I was just curious, and I started looking at all the top games on Metacritic for this year, and it's an interesting list when you look at the top 20, when like 8 of them are remasters, remakes, or an anniversary edition, or an official release of something that's already been out. So we'll touch on that.
You know what? I'm already happy with one of these on here. I'm fine with whatever else is on here.
All right, good to know. We'll also make sure to shout out our
Never mind.
sponsors.
No, I'm not.
No, he's not, because it's got so many remakes.
I just saw it. I just started seeing the name, or like seeing the word.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of them on there. That's why it's an interesting list. There's a lot of remakes, remasters, enhanced editions, official release of something that's already been out. Like it's an interesting list. So we'll look at that later. We'll shout our 2 sponsors later on in the show. Let's go to 2 cams. We got a new overlay. Shout out to that. If you're watching the video format, we got a new overlay. Hopefully it's going to make shorts a lot easier for me because that was the purpose of getting it. Oh, man. I got to figure out my camera positioning here, though. I got to go this way.
I was going to say, we spent all that time figuring mine out.
Well, see, I can just turn mine. Yours, I need to, like I said, I need to upgrade your camera.
I can just move the whole desk.
Well, don't do that. Because the camera's going to move with you.
Not going to lie, I already moved it like 3 times.
I know you did, but you're center screen. And that's what's important. I think I look a little bit taller than you. There we go. We look about the same height now. Boom. There we go. Perfect. We're the same height now.
Your camera's a foot higher.
Well, I mean, that is true. But again, I can adjust it. So that's the plus side, is I can adjust it. So.
All right. So I'm gonna kick this off with a question for you.
And I'm going to kick it off with an answer.
What happened at the Ubisoft Forward?
That is a great question. Things happened, my friend. So I'm assuming you didn't watch this.
The bits and pieces.
Okay,
I kind of flipped through it to see if it was anything more than, or anything exciting.
Yeah. Did you watch anything on the Outlaws? Star Wars Outlaws?
No.
Okay. So they first off, they spent a lot of time on Star Wars Outlaws. I figured as well, because it's coming out like what, in August, I think? Yeah, it's coming out in August.
Better games coming out in August.
Yeah, Black Myth Wukong, shout out. They spent a lot of time on it, and I don't know. I mean, it looked fine. Like it didn't. I didn't get super pumped. I didn't get super excited. I'm like, yeah. Well, I'm also just not a massive Star Wars fan. I mean, it's okay.
The problem with, like, I knew it was going to be a lot on Outlaws. The
Yeah.
problem with that for me is this is the same thing as when Starfield was coming out, and we would get 30 minutes of the showcase talking about Starfield and showing off little aspects of it. It's like, I don't care.
Right.
It's like, you can show me all of that, or you can just, show me a couple cool trailers, a little gameplay clip here and there,
Right.
and just make the shorter form version of that 30-minute showcase that you're going to do for the game. Just make it interesting.
Right.
It's like, not to bring it up every chance I get the opportunity to, but I mean, we kind of do that around here. Black Myth.
Yep.
Black Myth, we get 1 2-minute trailer if it was that long in August every year. And think of how hyped we were before we ever saw gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, so Steve popped in chat. He says Outlaws looks good. So honestly, like with Outlaws, I feel like if you're a Star Wars fan, you're probably gonna really dig what they're doing. I'm just gonna keep it real. I guess that's why it just looks okay to me. Is I've never throughout my entire life have ever been a diehard Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars, but I'm just not a diehard fan.
I will
Hot
say,
take from me, I guess.
I will say, it's like, I've enjoyed Star Wars, but also I've had no interest in Outlaws since it was announced. But it's also the same thing with like my question on, I think it was Tuesday when we did the show, when I was asking about the Indiana Jones showcase.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Where it's like, I'm not seeing any of the reception from it because I'm not
the target.
Not the target audience, so I'm not seeing the responses from those people. For me, it's not a game I'm excited for.
Right.
So I kind of I take the small peaks they show me in the larger showcases and that's all I'm really looking at.
Yeah. I did see when it comes to Outlaws, apparently it'll take about 30 hours to complete. So I saw that, and I'm just like, well, if it ever goes on sale, that's kind of in my realm of I'm willing to do that. I don't want an Assassin's Creed Valhalla over here. That doesn't sound fun to me. But 30 hours, I can do 30 hours. I'm fine with that. So, I mean, Outlaws, like, look, just taking my personal opinion of Star Wars out of it, the game looked good. It looked impressive. They're cooking up something good. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to be excited. But if you're like me and you, or we're just like, Star Wars is cool, yeah, it's whatever, then we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's a sell game for me. Like Steve said in chat, he's a Star Wars fan. So he's excited. That's fair. Be excited for that.
This is like, for Star Wars fans, this is your Indiana Jones game.
Yeah,
if
your Hogwarts legacy.
I was about to say, this is your Hogwarts legacy. It's like, but outside of that, if this is one of those ones where I think if you take the Star Wars out of it, it'd be less exciting.
Exactly.
But that's the appeal of it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Steve also threw in chat that he pre-ordered NCAA 25, and I was going to ask Steve, did you pre-order the base game, or did you get the Steelbook from Walmart, or did you get the randomly announced Homecoming edition that's at GameStop? So GameStop's got a special edition for the game that comes with a locker for the box that it comes in, with a jersey with 25 for the year, of course, and then a football that comes with it. I will also add interesting approach with how they're doing the pre-order, because I was looking at it after Tyler sent it to me. If you do the Xbox version, you can buy the base game, whatever, or you can buy the deluxe edition where you get the game 3 days early and a bunch of bullshit Ultimate Team stuff, whatever, right? But then if you wanted to go PlayStation, totally different. Like for PlayStation, they have, I think, 5 different SKUs up for this freaking thing, because they have the base game, which is priced at $150 for the edition, which comes with a physical copy. And then they have like 3 or 4 more versions of this that don't actually come with the game, and they give you a PlayStation gift card to buy the game. So, like, while the Xbox is like basically 2 things, the 150, which is the base game and the edition, or it's like 180, or like, yeah, it's like 180 and you get the deluxe edition and the collector's edition, or you go PlayStation route and it's like you can get like a $75 gift card, a $100 gift card, or a $120 gift card, and it varies in the total price. And that card is meant to buy the game for you. Like, I just think it's a really weird approach.
Remember the days where we had you bought the game.
Yep.
Or you bought the digital version, but you had the opportunity to buy the digital deluxe edition, which is usually just, depending on the franchise of the game or something, cosmetics.
Yep.
Or something of that sort. Or you would get like the additional music tracks and stuff like that. And then you had the collector's edition, which was the cool box and everything, like all the accessories and stuff
Yep,
for
yep.
it. Why do we don't need 7 versions
Facts.
for a game.
Facts. So, like, the reason why they've got it as so many versions is because there's 3 different SKUs of the game to purchase: the base game, the deluxe, or the MVP edition, which comes with Madden 25 and College Football 25. So that's why they have so many stupid SKUs of this thing, because the gift card will vary for the amount, so you can purchase either the base game on the PlayStation Store, the deluxe edition on the PlayStation Store, or the MVP edition on the PlayStation Store. But it's still just the fact that, like, it comes with the gift card and not like a digital code for the game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just so weird to me. Like, why is it like that for PlayStation but not Xbox? I don't know, man. I don't know what GameStop's cooking.
I don't know. This is why when I want to buy a digital, like if I'm buying a digital version of a game, I'm going on to the console that I want to buy it on.
Yep.
I'm going to the store page, and I'm going to look at the base game and what the digital deluxe edition offers me. And I don't ever look at whatever the next tier is, because it's usually not worth it.
Yeah, facts. It's usually not. I mean, Jesus Christ. But anyway, off that tangent. So back to the Ubisoft Forward. So yeah, a lot of time on Star Wars Outlaws. A lot of time on Assassin's Creed Shadows, of course. That's kind of their big release. I think we kind of touched on this on the last episode, because I know it was in both showcases. But I mean, it just looks like Ghost of Tsushima Assassin's Creed, which I knew you weren't a fan of.
I'm not
actually.
a fan
You're
of
not
it.
a fan of that. The internet is. The internet loves it.
I understand why. I understand why you would want to do something like that, because it's like, especially for Assassin's Creed, having two, like, the 2 characters, 2 ways to play the game, kind of. The problem is, why go about it for a game that's not Ghost of Tsushima's, when presumably they're gonna do something? They're gonna do another game or something similar to that. Why are we putting that in other? It's like, why are we trying to shoehorn that into other franchises? And that still, it's because people want more Ghost of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It just feels like, for me personally, it just feels like putting that into Assassin's Creed is just like, hey, we know you guys liked this other game. We're gonna try to do something like that, but I can only imagine it's not gonna be done as well.
I can only assume so, because, hey, great example. Came out in March. I still really want to play the game. Apparently, it sold really well for the company, but it was like reviewed as a pretty okay game. Rise of the Ronin, it heavily inspired off Ghost of Tsushima, and it just didn't do it as well. You know what I mean? It's we're in a really weird time of gaming, where we're seeing all these different games come out that are inspired by other games. It was like the Breath of the Wild effect that we've talked about, and that right now we're seeing the Overwatch effect, where we have a bunch of hero shooters coming out, and now we have the Ghost of Tsushima effect, where we have a bunch of games that look like Ghost of Tsushima coming out. We're in a weird time of gaming.
I don't know. Again, my whole thing with the Ghost of Tsushima thing is that was all built into the story of like how you played your character,
Right.
and I'm assuming that. Granted, I didn't really see it. Is the Assassin's Creed one? Is it just 2 different characters?
Yeah, it'll be
That
characters.
varying how you their skill sets are different.
Yep.
That's the part that I don't like about it. I like the fact that Ghost of Tsushima. I love that game, and I love that how you played your character determined how, like, your skills and everything worked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I don't know. Yeah, it seems like a less interesting way to do it.
Right.
Granted, you can have games have always had games with multiple characters have always had, like, this character's good at this and this character's good at this.
Right.
But the portrayal of it in that style to get the effect that they've got from it, where it's like, yeah, remember that? Remember how much you like this thing? Look here.
Right. Exactly.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Granted, it's probably going to be people are going to love it.
Yeah, I see your point. I do, and it's a game that I've definitely got a lot of interest in. I've said for years, like off shows and stuff, that hey, if we ever finally go to Japan, that's gonna be the one thing that could potentially draw me back into this franchise that I've used to love so much and have just fallen off of immensely. Probably the hardest I've fallen off a franchise in my life. But I mean, I think the gameplay does look pretty sick. I do wish it wasn't just so much of a Ghost of Tsushima clone in some capacities. You know what I mean? It's mostly when you're playing as one of the characters, I feel like, within the other. But, I mean, I do get it. You know, I understand. I understand the approach because of the vibe that you're going for, the characters that you're portraying, especially one of them being a real life, a real life figure, Yasuke. I get it. I understand. But so I see your
Yeah.
point.
I also recognize I'm in the vast minority
Yeah,
on this
I mean,
stance.
you definitely are. Like the internet,
Most people are excited
they're
for this.
pumped.
I look at it and I'm like, that's not what I would have wanted.
But
But it's like I'm also looking at it like what would bring me back into it, and this is not bringing me back into Assassin's Creed.
that's fair. The one thing that I really like about the approach that they've gone for and everything is just the fact that it has generated excitement. Because I feel like this is the first time I've seen this level of excitement of Assassin's Creed in a long time. Like Mirage was a lukewarm excitement, right? Like everyone's just like, okay, cool, we're back to the basics. This should be a fun little adventure. Nothing too long. Can manage this in a week or two. Awesome. Valhalla, there was excitement, but there was also still those diehard Assassin's Creed fans where it's like, oh man, another one of these massive games.
Valhalla was also the opposite effect of this, where it had no excitement going into it, and it was the week of release that everyone was excited about it. Because then they played it and they went, "Holy shit!"
Right.
Which that one, I mean, granted, didn't feel at all like an Assassin's Creed game playing it, but
none of those
felt
really
like
do.
it felt like a fantastic game to play.
Odyssey and Valhalla both don't really feel like Assassin's Creed games. Origins kind of does to a very small extent, but Odyssey and Valhalla does not. So, like, I don't know. It's kind of nice to see there's legitimate excitement around Assassin's Creed because it's a really cool franchise. Awesome franchise. I don't dive into it as much as I used to, but it is I can acknowledge from a distance that franchise is cool. So I'm glad to at least see the excitement for it because people are pumped. People are ready. But I think it also comes back to what you said earlier where it's like people just want more Ghost of Tsushima. People are ready for Ghost 2. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is.
That's the thing is like you said, the excitement around it. I mean, I'm glad to see excitement for some of these franchises, especially like, even though I'm not the biggest Assassin's Creed fan,
Right.
it's also you have to acknowledge that there hasn't been excitement in the franchise for 10 years or more. So to see people actually being excited about it, it's like, okay, well, they didn't make what's making me excited, but at least everyone else is excited.
Well, yeah, like what Steve said in chat, people have been waiting for this from Assassin's. People have been waiting for Assassin's Creed to go to Japan. I think we've all been waiting for that since like it started. You know what I mean? And we started kind of doing some different, different areas of the world and stuff like that. People have been waiting for this. So he brings up a great point there. He also says, I need an Assassin's Creed 3 remaster. My guy, I think that's a thing. I think Assassin's Creed 3 does, in fact, have a remaster. May want to look into that, but I think that's already a thing. Not a remake, of course, but I do think there's a remaster for that. But anyway, Assassin's Creed Shadows does look good. Will I pick it up day one? Probably not, but will I pick it up on a sale? Absolutely. Here was the biggest shocker of the show. They acknowledged Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. It's like, to me, that game is in the same realm as like Perfect Dark, where it's like, holy shit, it exists. Because it's been like such developmental hell for so long with like, oh, I mean, this game is in so much developmental hell, they're probably not going to touch Warrior Within or Two Thrones, which is heartbreaking. I love Warrior Within. And the fact they acknowledged it, like, I know it wasn't anything except a quick little trailer with like, like a lamp, whatever, and that was it. It's like, holy shit, they acknowledged its existence and gave it a release date of 2026, which I'm not buying it's coming out. I don't think it's going to come out in 2026.
I will say, because even though I didn't really like watch much of this one, of the showcase in general, the fact that you mentioned that, and it's like, yeah, I had seen I'd seen the mention of the name, but I hadn't dug into it because I know that is like, I knew that was gonna get mentioned because you like, that's one you're excited to talk about when you do hear anything about it. If it's not coming till 2026, potentially, it's like, why? Don't mention it.
Right. I think
it's a thing that I've been harping on for years at this point.
Yeah.
If a game is more than the current calendar year, or it won't be released by the next calendar year, I don't want to hear about it.
Right.
Because then I'm going to be hearing about that game for the next 4 years while you push the dates.
I think it was really one of those things that they just wanted to confirm to people that it is not canceled, because there was even some rumors that it was going to get canceled.
Yeah, but do the Microsoft thing during their showcases where they display a lot of their indie titles.
Yeah, and throw it
or
on
like
there.
from their smaller
Yeah.
developers. Well, Ubisoft can't do that. They don't have that much stuff going on. But it's like do a little montage of like backstage stuff, or like put it in with a montage of scenes that you've already shown us from some of the other games you're talking about, and just
Right,
like
right.
throw a screenshot or something up in the middle of it. Just if you just want to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear 2026.
Right. I don't want to hear 2026.
I almost got mad at the Xbox showcase for as much 2025 as they
yeah.
had.
I agree. That was really the only knock about that show. It was
Yeah.
a lot, but they made up for it. We started getting some 2024s.
Well, that's like when I said it's like I had to go back and look at it.
Yeah.
When I went back to watch it the second time, where I was like, okay, I got to pay attention to this, because if there's more than I think there is, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah. No, I get that. No, I'm with you though on the date thing. I mean, I'm glad to see it didn't get canceled, but it's like, damn, that's so long, man. Because I don't even think it's gonna come out. I mean, it sucks because like this is a game that I'm like, this is a day one for me.
Yeah.
For a very personal, nostalgic reason. Dating back to with my mom.
Yeah.
Very personal game for me. So this is a day one, but it's like, is it coming out in 2026? I don't think so. I don't know. I will say the rest of the Ubisoft Forward, overall, top to bottom, pretty mid. We can probably run through the rest of it. Did get a look at the first season of X Defiant, so shout out to that. Skull and Bones getting a second season. The fact it got a first, the fact it's a game. Oh man,
People play that.
I guess so. Like, I haven't seen any reports like, there's one player like Babylon's Fall. Remember that shit show? I haven't seen anything like that, so I guess people are playing it. I don't know, man.
They put this thing on Game Pass.
They really do. If they put it on Game Pass, I'll play it.
Put this thing on Game Pass.
I'll
go be.
try it.
I'll go sail around with you.
Prince of Persia Lost Crown DLC, so shout out to that. Rogue Prince of Persia update, which I didn't even know that one was a thing, so that's my bad. And then I thought this was funny.
I couldn't believe this.
The story expansion for Avatar. But here's the thing that I thought was so funny. Because, like, as someone that owns Avatar, which, by the way, is a 3-disc game, so that's fantastic. It is a mid-ass game, but it is one of the most beautiful games I have ever played. So I thought it was so damn funny that when they went to go show this, they were literally showing streamer reactions of coming into the world to try to drive to the audience watching this. We have a beautiful game here, and trying to mask everything else about it, because it's a beautiful game, bro.
Isn't it just like Far Cry Avatar?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100. It's like the joke that you said. Oh, that's a cool skin for. That's a cool Far Cry skin for whatever. It's a beautiful game, dude. Like if this is a game that you can get for super cheap one day, pick that thing up, because it is legitimately such a gorgeous game. Once you get into the world and everything, it's so beautiful. But the game itself it's boring as shit. It's beautiful to see. It's kind of like, you're just doing it's kind of like one of those things where you're at a theme park, right? And there's a certain part of the park that you're not into, but you go through the theme park because it's a cool section of the park. It's like, well, I'm glad I got to see that, but I'm probably not going to come through here again. It's kind of like that. It's literally the same vibe.
It's like when you go to the theme park and you're like, I don't care about it, but I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, story expansion for Avatar. Again, I just thought it was funny that they led off with it showing streamer reactions of coming out into the world and seeing how beautiful it looked. So shout out to that.
God damn it. All that reminds me of is how many games after Breath of the Wild have the climbing out of the cave, looking over the
Breath of the
cliff
Wild
top,
effect.
and it's like, the thing is, it's annoying how often games use.
It changed gaming.
It's annoying how often it's used now, but I'll be damned if it's not effective every time you play a game that has it. Every game does it, and it's like every time you're still like, man, that looks great.
Yeah, it never fails, man. Breath of the Wild changed the gaming industry permanently. All right, next we had the final season of the Crew Motorfest. Rest in peace. That game's coming to a close in sometime near future. And then a new announcement for apparently I don't follow this series at all, but apparently this like where they're going with this one is apparently a huge fan requested one. So I guess shout out to that. Is the game just called is it pronounced Anno?
I assume so.
Okay, Anno 117 Pax Romana. So I don't I know of the franchise, never played
Yep.
it, no interest. Apparently, this is a highly requested. This is highly requested by the fans.
Yeah.
Apparently, so
As far as I know, like I know what the font of the title looks
Yeah,
like when
yeah.
I see it, but I don't know what the game actually is.
it's just like a real time strategy. It's like a Civ or something like that. That's all I know. So I don't know. Shout out to fans for that though. Overall, Ubisoft Forward. It was a Ubisoft Forward. That's
I mean, it's
it. That's it.
the thing of like I didn't watch it and I could have told you what was in it.
Oh yeah.
Because Ubisoft has done the same showcase
Yep.
for the past 4 years.
Basically. Well, anyway, let's shout out one of our sponsors, Rogue Energy. You can use the referral link down below, promo code SPARKY3 to get 10% off your order. You pick up the hydration line like Dragon Fruit Mango, the brand new chill line with strawberry hibiscus, or the energy line, whether if it's the powder or the cans. If you're going for the powder, Rocket Pop's delicious, as well as Great Popsicle Strawberry Kiwi. Sour candy is also quite good. And then for the cans, can't go wrong with the Black Cherry Lemonade because it is fantastic. Shout out to that. All right, next up was Dragon Age, the Veilguard. We got a 20-minute gameplay reveal and quite a bit of backlash. Like, if you turn on your YouTube dislikes for it, man, that thing has got a shit ton of dislikes. Shit ton of... The ratio is astonishing. Because, like, I didn't think it looked that bad, but I'm also not a diehard Dragon Age fan. But I thought it looked good.
From what I understand, granted, I watched enough of the showcase to see what the gameplay looked like.
Yeah.
Because I'm also not a Dragon Age guy.
Yeah.
My general understanding from seeing a few videos about it and seeing like diehard Dragon Age fans talk about it, and then just like fantasy action
Genre
adventure fans, the diehard Dragon Age fans are not happy, and the just fantasy adventure gamers think it looks okay.
Mm.
And that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. That's about accurate. The most excitement that I've seen from the game seemed to be from like content creators around like BioWare and stuff like that. I've got a couple of like BioWare ambassadors that I follow who had already gotten their hands on the game previously, and they've said that even this gameplay doesn't really do it justice. So apparently amongst them, the game is great, but even amongst diehard fans of BioWare, of Mass Effect, of Dragon Age and everything, it's like what you're saying. I'm seeing a lot of negativity. For someone like me who's not a diehard fan, I think the game looks fine. I'm looking forward to playing it. But a lot of people are calling it like Dragon Age Fortnite. Like a lot of people's problems is like with the graphical approach.
Yeah, but that's because people are seeing it for the first time, and it's a trailer and everything. We've talked about this a lot with different games where you can complain about an art style the first time you see it as much as you want to. An hour into playing that game, you won't be able to tell that it's not what you're used to.
Yeah.
One thing I've seen is like gameplay wise, this looks much more just like an action combat system. And I know Dragon Age fans are much more of a fan of like Dragon Age Origins as like the gold standard of Dragon Age.
Right.
So I think people were kind of hoping that it would shift that way a little bit, where you have more of the make your actions. You can kind of pause, choose your actions, run through a sequence of events and everything, and do that, as opposed to, all right, jump, attack, dodge, attack, dodge, special attack, dodge, things like that, which is standard for 3D action games, which looks to be more of the pace of this.
Right. I know for the gameplay and them kind of going in this direction, and even like maybe like just like the art style approach and stuff like that, all of those things that make this game kind of stand out and feel different than the others, honestly, the vibe that I get from it is that it's just them trying to cast a wider net to pull in a new audience. You know what I mean? That's kind of the vibe that I've got, is that they're just trying to cast the widest net possible.
The only problem I could see with that is
Catering too much to new fans and not your diehards.
yeah, you're catering to your new fans, and your hope
Potential
is
new fans.
your hope is to get them into the series. But if you get them in with this game and they go, okay, let me go check out some of these other Dragon Age games,
Right.
they're gonna go. It's like they're gonna probably look up, okay, what's the best Dragon Age game or something, and then they'll go back and play Origins, and then as they move forward, they're gonna go, what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna move away from. It's gonna slowly kind of move away. I mean, story wise, it's all there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you'll have whatever the Dragon Age story is there, which people seem to genuinely enjoy. But gameplay wise, it's like you're gonna be sending them from your new system back to the original system that everybody liked, and then playing back through it. People are gonna be like, "What has happened?
How did we get here?"
So it's gonna be like it's like, because the thing is, this Dragon Age game, not a day one pickup for me. This is gonna be like, if I see it on sale, if I come across a copy or something, I'll give it a go. But it's not something I'm excited for, or like really looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also the player that like I would play it and not go back and play the other ones.
Yeah.
So I might be the person they're trying to get.
True. Yeah, that's probably a good way to assume it. As for me in pickup, depending on when it will come out, will depend on if it's a day one or not. Because I've got a lot of stuff going on around that range, man. I mean, me and you, we've got Dragon Ball, Sparking Zero. That same day, I've got Metaphor. You know, because it's going to be on Game Pass, I got Avowed a couple weeks later. You know, November 12th. You know, I'll probably still be playing Black Myth. You know, I've got shit going on in those months. I'm busy.
Avowed is also like that's also going to be a game for me.
It's on Game Pass. So.
That's just, well, I mean, that's one I was already like, wanting to pick up. And like I said when we talked about it earlier in the week, like, stop showing me new trailers and stuff for it. At this point, the decision has been made for a long time that I'm going to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
Just release it.
Yep. Now just gotta wait for that November 12th release.
Yeah. It's like the more you show me now, the less I'm gonna be interested.
Right.
Funny enough.
Oh, and then of course got Life is Strange around that time period too. Excited for that too. So depending on when Dragon Age comes out, will depend on if it's a day one, because every game I just named to you takes priority over it. As of right now, how I feel. So I don't know. I mean, I thought the gameplay looked fun. The controversy around it, I can understand aspects to it for sure. But I also see it as like what we were just saying. I think they're just trying to cast a wider net, trying to get someone like you to play. That's what I think.
There was also an interesting point that I saw. I forget where I read the article at, but there was some. I think it was about Dragon Age, where there were complaints where some people were saying they were hoping they were going to see more like character integration or like aspects from Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, yeah.
In it. And then I believe it was one of the developers or somebody came back and they're like, you understand we can't just add that to it because we see people like it. We've been working on this for 5 years or whatever. Right. It's like development cycles are a long time because like in the same way we're now seeing the Overwatch effect. We're getting into the Ghost of Tsushima effect.
Mm-hmm.
4 years down the line, we're going to have the Baldur's Gate effect.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like...
we really are.
Which, I'll tell you what, out of all of these effects that we're seeing...
That's the one
I'm looking forward to.
That's it. That's the one, baby. Oh, my God.
But, yeah, it was just another interesting thing I saw where I'm like, yeah, people really enjoy a game, and then they're like, more game, do this. And it's like, yeah, it's going to happen, but... you're going to have to wait.
Yeah, exactly. No, we did also get a lot of fun facts about the game because there was a developer Q&A later that week, which, man, I can't help but to wonder. I wonder how those developers felt going into that Q&A after just getting trashed on the gameplay. It's like, well, we already agreed we do this fucking Q&A, so I guess we'll do it. But they're just like, man, this sucks.
That's when you send people out there, and it's like, they're like, You better screen these questions.
All right, so I didn't even capture all of them, man. There was too much information. There was a lot of like minuscule stuff, but I captured ones that I thought was at least notable or interesting. So quality and performance modes will be available on console. It's up to 60 FPS. Photo mode confirmed. Fully offline single player. No EA account linking required. Love to see that. You can play as a human, the elf, the dwarf, or the Quinari. Then you can choose your backstory, 6 factions to pick. Each faction has 3 specific buffs. Shout out to that. This was pretty interesting. You can customize your Inquisitor from Dragon Age Inquisition in the character creator because it will have an impact in your story. They will show up. So I may have missed this, but I don't know if you're able to like move over a save file and your original Inquisitor. I don't know if you can do that like you can in the Mass Effect games. I haven't seen that, but
you'll probably have the option for it, or I mean,
it makes sense.
Then again,
they did
it's
it with Mass Effect.
It's also gonna be just an appearance thing that would come through.
It would be,
and it's very like there's also the chance that you just won't be able to do that because they may not have all the same options for like the way a character can be created and like. Because it could be as simple as like hairstyles, eye options, makeup options, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You may not be able to make the same character, but you can take a few minutes to make something a close approximation.
Right, exactly. Warrior, Rogue, and Mage classes. Each class has 3 subspecs. It has open-ended explorable areas. I kind of got the same vibe when they showed it in the gameplay, and then they talking about. I kind of get the vibe of like almost like a God of War Ragnarok. Was kind of the vibe that I got.
Massive open zones, but not open world.
Exactly.
Which I will say, way better route to go.
Yeah, no, I'm here for that. 3-party size like Mass Effect. Combat focus is in real time, but you cannot take direct control of companions like in past Dragon Age. But you can use like your pause little wheel menu and issue ability commands for you and your allies. So that that direction feels like they're going more in what you can do with like Mass Effect, where you never can really control your allies, but you can control like if they use certain actions and stuff, or heals or whatever, or weapons and whatnot. There is a hub area for the player like Skyhold and Normandy called the Lighthouse, and companions can romance other characters if you opt not to romance them, which I love that because they started including that with Mass Effect 3. And I just thought it was really cool where you can see a couple of your companions romance. Like if you don't romance like Tally, you'll see Garrus and Tally get together. And I think that's really sweet. If Ashley's alive, Ashley and James will end up kind of hitting it off. So stuff like that I thought was really cool in Mass Effect 3. Just seeing how everyone kind of reacts, or like your NPC companions react. So the fact they're going to continue with it, I'm here for it.
That's why you've played it so many times. You just keep killing off characters to see who they get with next.
I do not kill off characters, all right? Actually, you have to potentially kill her. You don't have a choice in that one. I make sure everyone lives on the suicide mission.
Yeah, maybe now after you've got all your testing done.
So actually,
we're not having a Mass Effect conversation.
Hold on.
Nope.
Hold on.
Nope.
Hold on.
Nope.
Hold
you can
on.
talk about it next year.
No, hold on. So when I first beat Mass Effect 2, I actually only had one person die. So shout out to that in the suicide mission. Unlike our friend Brady, who had like 6 people die.
Yeah, because he read the name of the mission.
Suicide mission, yeah. Man, I'm so upset that his save file got like deleted or whatever. Because I was so fascinated how his Mass Effect 3 playthrough would have gone. Because he lost some really important characters. So I thought anyway. But overall, I think the Dragon Age stuff, I didn't think it was terrible. I don't think it deserved the controversy it got, but it is what it is, kind of thing. That's the internet. That is the internet gaming community.
I think it's one of those where if it didn't have, like, if you took the Dragon Age name away from it and just showed the game off,
the Veilguard,
and called it the Veilguard or something,
yeah,
I think people would have responded positively.
Yeah,
I think it's just the Dragon Age name attached to it is what people are not happy about.
Right. I know one thing that people are also not happy about is they are not happy with the name change. Not because of they love Dreadwolf more than the Veilguard, whatever. Like I like Dreadwolf more. People are just pissed that the is there.
It does not make sense. Well, no, it doesn't make sense that the is there. I'm on this team.
Yeah. Like
it should just be Dragon Age Veilguard.
It should be Dragon Age Veilguard. Like the Dragon Age the Veilguard as its official title is stupid. So dumb. Whoever greenlit that needs to be fired. That's so stupid. Steve said Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was fun as fuck. It was fun as fuck, but it pissed me off that they forced you to play it to get the best ending of Mass Effect 3. Did not like that decision. That pissed me off with the original release, even though I did enjoy the multiplayer. All right. Any other thoughts on Dragon Age stuff?
Not really.
All right. Agent Ink time, baby. Use the referral link down below. Pick up a hat or a jersey. I will say the Gamesthetic and the ATFS jersey will be getting updated here soon. So hold off on those. But hey, the Sparky 3 and the AniMan Plus, they look sick. They're here to stick around forever. They're amazing. We got a trash can hat. Got the Sparky 3 hat. So go pick up something with our referral link down below. I didn't technically have like another topic queued up, so it's kind of like we're in weekly wrap-up territory and kind of bullshit territory. So I was going to ask you this. Do you have any thoughts on anything that could potentially show up in this Nintendo Direct we're supposed to get? Do you think... I think it's going to be a lot of fan service stuff. I really do. Like, we're at the end of this thing. They've openly admitted we're at the end of this thing. I think it's going to be a lot of fan-requested shit.
I think it's potentially gonna be them being like, okay, fine, we're gonna give you some of the remasters we've just been holding on to.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
I think we're gonna get some remasters we've been holding on to. I don't think we're getting it. I don't think it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's gonna be crazy. I really don't. I did see one person say that the Direct is gonna be really good, who is a known leaker, which I have a funny story on that known leaker here in a minute, because it's a leaker that I have referenced a lot on this show. It has been a wild time the past few days. But they said the Direct's going to be a lot of fun. But I don't know if they said that as a fan or as the leaker that they are. I don't know which one they said. I don't know which one it was.
The other thing is, a Nintendo Direct can be considered really fun with like 2 titles.
Facts.
There is it's the weird thing of like, we have no bar for Ubisoft. Xbox was such a low bar for us. Sony typically is probably the highest bar that we hold to. And then Nintendo, we're kind of like,
don't even give them a bar.
We don't have a bar because every Nintendo fan or everybody who watches the Directs goes, nah, I mean, we just know Nintendo's going Nintendo.
Yeah.
They gonna do what they do, and Nintendo fans are gonna begrudgingly go along and buy whatever they sell them.
Yeah. The only thoughts that I have on the Direct is, number one, I'm just going to go ahead and eliminate any hope for it. I just don't think a Wind Waker Twilight Princess thing is going to happen. I think that ship has sailed. I think we had the opportunity a couple of years ago and we didn't do it. I do think
I would disagree.
You think they're going to do it? You think it's time?
I think it's more likely to happen now, because now we know they're actively working on the next Switch.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it. What did they do with Breath of the Wild?
Cross port.
They need a Zelda to do it with.
I mean, yeah.
You give the new ones now, and then when you release the next Switch, you go, and here it is again.
Here it is again.
And what's a more Nintendo thing?
That you got me there. You got me there. I don't know. I've been holding on to that hope for so many years.
I've been waiting on it to be crushed from you too,
and
so that now I can claim it.
I'm crushed. So now you're swooping in.
Now it's mine.
Now you're swooping in to be a dick and take it from me. No, one thing that I do think is going to happen out of every possible dumb little announcement we could get is I do think we will get the Prime 2, Prime 3 rumors that's been out there. What I think is going to happen is it'll be Prime 2 will be released day of the Direct or next day, just like Prime 1 was, and Prime 3 is going to come out this fall. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen to kind of help further lead up into Prime 4 being a next year title on the new Switch. That's my opinion. So I'm cool for that, especially if they do physical copies, because I bought the Prime physical copy. Give me the Metroid Prime trilogy all on Switch. Let's go. That sounds awesome. I'm here for that. But that's what I think is going to happen. So that's my only take on a potential Nintendo Direct.
Yeah,
I've given up hope on the Zelda thing. Though.
It's going to happen. Well, I mean, the Direct, that is. We'll watch it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be next week. I think it's going to be on Tuesday. I think it's going to be the 18th from some stuff that I've seen. Like some basically like some videos being privated, because if they're privated and in a playlist, you can see that privated video in a playlist. So from some stuff like that, it's not from the Nintendo YouTube. Let me stress that because people love to use that. I'm talking about other game studios, like publishers that that have a game that would probably be in that direct. Just some little tidbits out there that's kind of hinting that it's probably gonna be the 18th. We'll see though. No, the leaker thing. This is interesting. So it involves that Sega Atlas leaker that I always mention their leaks for, that they have a 100% track record in Midori. So some real interesting things came out these past couple days. And it's been a big back and forth on it, because there's a lot of accusations about it, but if those accusations aren't accurate, then there's the other question of okay, there's people that don't give a shit because the leaks are accurate. There's people that give a shit because at the end of the day they were lying. So apparently it all came out that Midori is not actually this Japanese girl with poor English that has insider track and has all this information. It's actually some white dude over here in the States who was a YouTuber and a prominent figure in the Persona community a few years ago named Mystic Distance, faking who he was, lying who he was about, on the internet, whatever, which people get real pissed about this. It's happened 3 times now. I've noticed on, where it's blown up all over Twitter. But all behind this though is that there's a lot of accusations coming out of this leaker was posing as, this Japanese girl and tricking people into relationships that they're a Japanese girl, but it's really a white dude. That's where it's fucked up. That's where it's fucked up. I've seen that happen to one guy that I follow on Twitter. I've seen that happen to him. It's that's fucked up. But it's been an interesting few days following this. Even Jason Schreier commented on it, and I'm just damn, if even he's gonna comment on it, that's something. It's been an interesting few days. They deleted their Twitter though, so no more Sega Atlas leaks. But it's been a lot also back and forth. It's just I don't really give a shit if you're a male or a female. I just give a shit about your leaks.
Yeah. Okay, as far as the leak information of that, I mean, yeah, who cares? It's you would pose as someone else to just for the leak purposes. Yeah, who cares? You're getting your information correct. I don't know how you're getting it, but you got a pretty good track record, so
good on you.
Yeah, good on you for that. Everything else,
scumbag.
Yeah,
scumbag. So it's been an interesting few days on Twitter, my guy. But that is every day on Twitter. Twitter is always an interesting day. Steve threw in the chat, I think WoW is back, baby. The War Within is great so far in the beta. Blizzard is finally listening to the fan base and making changes based on community feedback.
See how long that lasts.
I mean, that's true. That's true. We'll see how long that lasts. But I mean, I don't know. Blizzard has, the higher ups at Blizzard and devs at Blizzard and stuff, they've, talked about since this acquisition became final. Xbox is just letting them cook. They're just letting them do their thing. Yeah. They're leaving them alone, letting them be Blizzard.
I do say that jokingly because I mean, I feel like WoW players, they could use a win.
Yeah, yeah. So they've been doing it all Dragonflight. So there you go. So that's good. That's good. That trailer was pretty impressive. That cinematic, whatever. But then again, every WoW cinematic's impressive. Let's keep it real here. Everything about WoW cinematics are great. I'm not even a WoW fan, and I love those cinematics. But shout out to WoW, possibly being completely all the way back. Shout out to that. Do you got any other topics you want to shout out? If not, we can start actually going through the weekly wrap up. Let me pull up my message I sent to myself.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
If something pops in, I'll just
shout it out.
I'll just jump in.
All right. So the first thing I already shouted out earlier, Metroid Prime 4 has passed 7 years this past week since its announcement, and still no release. And it's getting up there with with some of the top dogs in the world there. So to my understanding, Duke Nukem Forever held the Guinness Book of World Records at 15 years for development. In 2022, Beyond Good and Evil 2 broke that at 17 years. Which, shout out to that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still a thing that was announced in 2008 and still nothing on it. Some other ones that I found, and some of these are probably pretty notable when I say it. You'll be like, oh yeah, yeah, that's right, that's pretty notable. Like Two Human, that was like a 9-year development. It was supposed to come out on the original Xbox, like a launch title for the original Xbox. It came out on the 360. The Last Guardian had a 9-year development.
I remember hearing about that one for a long time.
Yeah. Team Fortress 2 at 9 years. Final Fantasy 15 at 10 years. Prey at 11 years. I remember hearing a lot about that one. Diablo 3 at 11 years. Facts. Mother 3 at 12 years. Did not know that one. Did not know Mother 3 took 12 years to develop. And then the last two that I had, this is kind of a gray area for these last two, especially the one that would be the longest. Because as far as I know, and I'd have to dig into this a little bit more, again, I thought Duke Nukem Forever was the Guinness World Record holder at 15 years, and now Beyond Good and Evil passed it. But I found a game that is listed at a 28-year, 81-day development cycle, a game I have never heard of in my life. And I question, is it 28 years, or is it like, there's no way you developed this game for 28 years. There was plenty of times you stopped development. It's called Clockwork Aquario. Have you heard of this?
I don't have like a.
It's like it looks like a JRPG.
Yeah, I don't. I will say it sounds a little familiar, but I don't have any recollection. Right now on it.
When you look up the development for that, it says 28 years, 81 days, and I'm just like, there's no way that's accurate. That's got to be inflated.
It's like that. It may not be inflated, but it might not be a continuous 28 years.
See, that was my thought process too.
That's probably listed as this is when I started working on it, but it might just be this is the day that I started working on it, and it been doing it here and there throughout that time.
Right. Another one that it was apparently listed as 16 years, which if it was listed at 16 years, it would have also beat Duke Nukem. That's why I question, is that a legitimate 16 years, or did you just want to throw this in there as 16 years because it was teased once upon a time? I don't buy that it was a 16-year development, but that was Metroid Dread. Because Metroid Dread was supposed to be a sequel to Metroid Fusion. It was teased in Metroid Fusion. I don't think it was an actual 16-year development.
I thought Dread was the concept the concept for the game was 16 years.
Yeah,
or the concept for it was then.
Yeah,
and it was like something that they wanted to work on.
Yeah,
back then,
and
they didn't do it for a long time. So they may be considering from the time of conception of what the game was supposed to be.
Yeah. See, and that's why I don't, again, it didn't obviously break Duke Nukem's record in the record book. So that's why I was like, okay, so I don't think that one's legitimate. But either way, it was kind of interesting diving into that because after I saw that news on Metroid Prime, I was like, where does Metroid Prime rank? It's like, so based on what I found, it would hit like maybe 13, maybe. I stopped at Spore at 8 years. So I don't know if there's more 8-year cycle games, but
probably.
So it may crack top 15. But either way, I just thought it was interesting, especially the one that claims a 28-year development cycle. I was like, I don't know how legitimate that is. But anyway, whatever. Next up, we've got a couple of targeted release dates for a couple games like Gears of War E-Day and Clockwork Revolution. Both Xbox games are targeting 2025. I hope that's the case, especially for E-Day. Very excited for E-Day. Saw some more details come out about it where it's like 14 years prior to the first game, chainsaws will come back, and there's a story behind it and stuff. New locust that you've never seen before, and that kind of BS. So I'm excited for it.
I was gonna mention real quick. Remember when we were talking about some of the Xbox like games we were looking forward to, and there was that one game I mentioned that I was looking forward to. That what was it, like Entropia or something?
Yeah.
The last song.
Yeah,
I've downloaded the demo.
Oh, okay.
Haven't tried it yet. That might be something I jump into tomorrow.
All right.
But I did see the demo for it, so I downloaded it a little bit before I came over here.
Nice. Love that. Next up, we got some more Xbox trailers coming at Gamescom. Apparently, they didn't have enough time in their own showcase for everything. If that's not a subtle flex, I don't know what is. Like, that is a subtle flex. Yeah, we got a lot of games coming. We got a lot of shit coming.
I mean, you needed it.
Yeah, you did. You definitely needed it. Visions of Mana got a release date of 8/29. Honestly, it looks really good.
Gonna be a pickup for me.
Really? It looks really good. I'm not surprised by that. I was actually thinking about it myself.
It's gonna be a pickup.
I've never played a Visions game.
I've never. Well, it'd be a Mana game.
My bad. Yeah, I've never played a Mana game.
You stun locked me first.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, man. My bad.
I've never played a Mana game, but this one looks incredible.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a pickup for me. Like maybe day one. It might not be a day one play, but it's definitely gonna be pick it up and play it soon-ish
Right.
around that time.
I don't blame him. It looks really solid. There was some leaked images and files for an early build of a canceled Cyberpunk 2077 DLC that is just labeled as Moon. So I wanted to shout that out in case you were kind of curious, want to dive into it. Obviously, that is dead and gone. All Cyberpunk team is now moved over to Witcher 4. But either way, I thought that was kind of interesting.
You know what? Could be an interesting concept for a second Cyberpunk game.
Exactly. I could definitely see it being integrated into Cyberpunk. Because it's kind of the same thing of how Tears of the Kingdom became a thing. Tears of the Kingdom was supposed to just be a DLC, and they're just like, man, there's so much we want to do to make the damn sequel.
It could just be that like they started working, or they started on that and went, this is going to be bigger than we expect it to be. So let's just wrap everything up with this game, make it as good as we can possibly make it, and then when we come back to it, we've got to start on what we want to do.
Yep. I think that's a great idea because, I mean, look how well it turned out for Tears. So I think that's awesome. In terms of leaks, I also saw where there was some leaked images and apparently a video. I did not see the video. I did see the images of very early builds of Spider-Man 3 featuring Silk specifically. Very early build for sure. I did not see the video or if there is one, but this still goes back to that massive Insomniac leak that Sony is still dealing with, because Sony's not going to pay them the money to get the data back. Plus, there's so much data that's already been released anyway. But now they're starting to release some Spider-Man 3 stuff. So that sucks. Hate that for Insomniac. And the last thing that I had is I wanted to shout this out because, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance came out, reviewed really well. And I wanted to just take a look at the best reviewed games of this year via Metacritic because it is a very fascinating list. When I pulled the top 20 games, and I think 8 or 9 of them were remakes, remasters, official release of a game that's already been out, or like an anniversary edition.
Well, it looks like you also have a DLC in here.
And a DLC, which shout out to that because number 1, we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in 92, and number 2, Destiny 2: The Final Shape at a 92.
I just want to point out we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in here, which isn't it. It's a remake, but it's a remake of a third of a game.
Yep, just a portion of it.
And that's the best reviewed game we have this year.
Yep,
so far.
Yep, and then the other one's an expansion. It's a weird year, man.
What happened?
It's a weird year.
Wait till August.
Yeah, just wait till August, man. Now, have you seen stuff on the Final Shape though? I mean, people love it, man.
I've all I've done with it is okay. I will say, okay, I did this. I have made fun of Destiny 2's way that they sell content and the way that their microtransaction thing is structured. When the Final Shape came out on Steam, and I clicked on it and I was like, okay, well, let's click on this and see what the reviews are looking like on it. There's like 7 ways to buy it.
Of course,
I couldn't figure it out. I wasn't gonna buy it, but I clicked on it and it's like it takes me to a page and there's like 6 options on how to buy the Final Shape.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I was like, this is what's wrong with Destiny 2.
Right. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think it's time for Destiny 3. So I have been immensely spoiled on the ending for this expansion, thanks to TikTok. It is a very, it is an extremely heartfelt, satisfying ending. Even with the loose knowledge I have of Destiny 2 these days, like it is a very satisfying ending, especially with one character specifically that I absolutely love from Destiny. Overall, very satisfying ending. So this to me felt like the bow on Destiny 2. So hopefully Destiny 3 is a thing. Anyway, next up at number 3 would be Animal Well, which I think that was it was a YouTuber's game. It's a donkey. I think it's donkey. That came in at 91. How do you pronounce this game?
This is Balatro coming in at number 4 with a 90.
Shout out to that.
This is the one that I saw and I went, I see one game on here. I'm perfectly happy with this list now until I saw all the remakes in that. Because Balatro, I believe, was made by, but it may have been a single developer at the time who was making it. The game came out, blew up everywhere, and this is one of those like every year we get a couple like little indie games that come out and blow up, and it basically like you now have, it's like you can now do whatever you want after this game. And just fantastic to see. Also a fantastic game.
Yeah. Shout out to the One Up Club over on Kick. They said that almost makes sense. Didn't a report come out that the most played games this year have been out for over 6 years, perhaps a function of long production cycles you were just talking about? I think they're referring to the fact that like 8 or 9 of the games are like remasters, remakes, or are poured up. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Like, it's like, even though yes, we have remakes and remasters, like. There was development cycles for them. You know what I mean? Like Paper Mario remake. I know it's a Paper Mario game. I mean, come on. But, it probably had like a 3 to 4, maybe even 5-year development time. Persona 3 freaking Reload, that probably had like a 5 to 6 year development time. Like, let's keep it real here.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, I complain about a lot of remakes and stuff like
do.
that. But
remake.
I complain mostly about remakes because I look at this list and I know that at the end of the year, when we come to Game of the Year nominations, there's probably gonna be at least 2 or 3 that are in the Game of the Year contention that are remakes, and I think that is the stupidest thing.
Yeah,
it is not a new game.
I agree. Because next up was a remaster. At number 5, we have The Last of Us Part 2 remaster at 90. The remaster we did not need at all. I mean, I get it. They wanted to, put it on the PS5 with that nice, white box. That way you have both Last of Us games on the PS5. You have Last of Us Season 2 coming out in like January. I get it. It's just stupid, and it just makes me mad because I hate The Last of Us Part 2. I think it's a terrible game. Well, let me rephrase that. The gameplay is fine. It's as good as you would expect it to be in that style of game. I just think the story is dog shit. I'm gonna die on that hill. Tekken 8 coming in at 6 with a 90. Horizon Forbidden West PC port, the enhanced edition, whatever, complete edition, whatever it's called, at an 89. So there you go, another port up. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth at an 89. Lori Lee and the Laser Eyes at 88. I have no idea what that game is.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's
Lorelei, thank you. At an 80. I don't know what that game is, though. Never heard of it.
No idea.
Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door remake in 88. Another remake there. And another little remaster here at Shogun Tensei 5 Vengeance at an 88. And another remake here at Persona 3 Reload at 87. 3 in a row.
Okay, what's this 13?
Quamp 2? I have no clue. I have no clue. Do you know what it is?
No,
because I have no clue. I saw the game art for it. I'm like, what the fuck is Quamp 2? I've never heard of this. Then a game called Mini Shoot Adventures at 87. Unicorn Overlord, baby, 86. Let's go.
I don't know what Mini Shoot Adventures is, but it sounds like something I would play.
It probably is. From when I looked at it, it looked like something you'd play.
I gotta look this up.
Prince of Persia Lost Crown at 86. Shout out to that. Mullet Mad Jacket at 86. And then the Sons of the Forest official release at 86. Dragon's Dogma 2 at 86. And Braid Anniversary Edition 86. So a lot of remakes, a lot of remasters, a lot of port ups, a lot of like not new games. And it's like you look at the new games and it's like a bunch of indie games besides a couple of them. It's like, I don't know. It's a weird year for games, bro. It's a really weird year. So, I don't know, man. Shout out to that. Are you looking at Mini Shoot Adventures?
Yep.
Are you going to play it?
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Don't know what you're looking at, huh?
I don't know. I'll look it up. I'll keep looking it up
I'll figure
later.
it out. But weird year for games, man. That's the bottom line. Hopefully the end half is going to be better than the first half. Where we got some new stuff like Black Myth Wukong,
We will take any opportunity we can to mention until well after the game comes out.
I mean, we got Black Myth Wukong, we got Metaphor. That's new games. I mean, like, let's go. It's not a remake or a remaster.
The games we're looking forward to this year, I would love to see someone else's list of what they're looking forward to, and then we'd have ours, and if we'd show like ours, they go, "Fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah, it's a very diverse list. You know what I mean? Like let's just talk about mine. Like I'm over here. I'm just like, all right, number 1 game, Black Myth Wukong, hands down. Number 2, especially now after more stuff has just continued to come out, would be freaking College Football 25. So it's further like, what is wrong with you? Yeah, you got a Souls-like game on Journey to the West, and you have a sports game. What is wrong with you? And then that would be like metaphor. I was like, okay, now you're going into JRPGs. It's like, well, after that would probably be Dragon Ball. Okay, so you're going to an anime fighting game. And then it's like, oh, after that would probably be Life is Strange, Double Exposure. It's like, okay, well, now you're going into this narrative game.
Yeah, but at least there you're getting back to the normal.
Yeah, you're getting back to things that people really enjoy. I mean, well, people are the fandom. And I wouldn't say people. The fandom's excited for Dragon Ball. I almost got a little ahead of myself.
We are a small community.
I wouldn't say small.
We're
I wouldn't say small.
We're a small section of
the
people.
Wider space
We're a small
of
section of the people
gaming
that
community.
are watching the showcases.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's true. It's a weird year for games, man. Hopefully the end half will be better than the first half. So, all right, next up, we got the Gamestetic Game of the Week. John, yeah, this is your game this week.
I got a question for you. I got two.
I have an answer.
I got two potential here.
All right, two potential.
I have the boring answer.
Okay.
Which I at some point will mention, and
Okay.
I'm not necessarily happy about it. But it is one that I have talked about a lot, and I would have to mention at some point. And then I have a more interesting answer.
Go with the interesting one because I already have my plan for next week, and it is also an interesting answer.
Or at least it's interesting to me. I was thinking about it earlier. So for Gamestetic Game of the Week this week, I am going to mention Gloomhaven.
Okay, all right, here we go.
So Gloomhaven, I mean, I believe there's a board game out for it as well.
Yeah,
It's a like tactical strategy deck builder. It's a very interesting game. You start with a couple characters and kind of play through some of the missions, and as you play through it, you gain the ability to unlock additional characters and level up and gain access to like new cards and that. And then there's the deck building side of it, which is pretty interesting. Game is a lot of fun. Game is also fairly challenging. Because if you start messing up, and because part of the deck building feature of it is certain cards are one-time play only per encounter, and then it burns the card for the rest of the time, and you can run out of cards to play, so you can just lose based on like being too aggressive. But it is a fun game. I highly recommend people go and check it out at some point, even just to look at it. If it's not typically what you would play, I'd recommend giving it a try, especially if you see it on sale, because it is 100% worth playing.
Yeah, Steve also threw in the chat. Board game was first, I believe.
Yeah,
It's
board game was
fantastic.
first. This is the digital interpretation of the game.
So shout out to that, Gloomhaven, Gamestetic Game of the Week. Like I said, I already got mine planned for next week, and mine is an interesting answer that I have definitely plugged on the show before. It's a very fascinating game about a certain animal that is just extremely fascinating, and it's a game that you've always wanted to play, and I finally dove into it head first, and it is a very stressful game, but it's a lot of fun. So we'll dive into that next week. Blood Bowl 3 Game of the Week. Shout that out in the future. You got anything else? You ready to hit the music and get out of here?
I don't think I got anything.
All right, let's turn the music down. Let's not blow our ears up here.
What the
That's not the right button. There we go. All right.
If you liked what you saw with us this week and want to come see us again, we do these episodes every Saturday about 6 p.m. Central Time. I guess you can comment down below if there's anything with the Nintendo Direct that you think might happen and would be interested in, and also give your thoughts on the Ubisoft Direct down below.
Yeah, and then hopefully next week we will be talking about the Nintendo Direct that will hopefully go on Tuesday. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm trying to get myself centered back up here. Make sure to also check out our sponsors, Rogue Energy and Agent Ink. Use the referral link down below. Pick some up, and we'd appreciate that. Promo code Sparky3 over at Rogue Energy. And we would definitely appreciate the support. Join the Discord, be a friend, tell a friend. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.